Oh, hi there. I was just editing one of my podcasts here. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but you can call me Dylan, and this is the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Hey, let's see how this thing sounds. Hold in! Okay, so it needs a little more work, but that's the exciting part, because you never know what you'll discover along the way. Oh, don't take my word for it, though. You can find out for yourself when you listen to today's Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're here today to talk about episode 49 of Adventures in Odyssey. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
No, Andrew. You got.
They got me. This is actually a good episode, though. I really enjoyed listening to it. I'm excited to talk about it today.
Cool. To off the top, we've got some cast people. We have our standard returning, people we'd expect. We have Maggie Mullally, who played June Kendall, pulling double duty here, also playing Fiona Donnerell.
Great accent.
Yeah, not a thing I ever, even listening to the episode today, prepping for this, did I realize that it was the same person.
No way.
That was, yeah.
It makes perfect sense, though.
Yeah, no, it does. We've got Chad Reiser playing a kid, because that's what he does. This time the kid's name is Rodney, no relation.
Oh, but I thought he also voiced Young Wit, but he doesn't. That's
No, we have someone else voicing Young Wit. We have Joseph Camarotto. I think we've talked about him before. He famously plays Oscar. Mm-hmm. But was he in an episode we talked about? Maybe not. I'm checking real quick. Oh, he's in
the Mortal Coil Part 1.
Yeah, which we haven't talked about. No, he's in The Living Nativity. He plays Oscar in that. I was like, okay. I didn't think we did an Oscar episode, but we absolutely did.
And we could do more.
Yeah. Hey, I like Oscar. He's fine. And then we also have Julia Kazarian, who in this episode is playing Agnes. But then we'll also, we'll play Agnes again.
In episodes we've covered already?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Actually, I did not know that it was the same voice actor from before.
I think I'm right on that. Now I gotta check.
Oh, yeah. No, she's in Plan B.
No. Okay. That's really weird. So here's the situation. She comes back in the Plan B episodes, but not playing Agnes, playing frickin' Katrina's mom.
Yeah, Millie Shanks.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, she also voices Doris?
Yeah, in a one-off episode.
Okay.
I feel like early Doris Rathbun. But yeah, okay. So she's playing Agnes here. And she doesn't play Agnes later, but she does stick around the show and play Millie Shanks. That is really bizarre.
Yeah.
I wonder, my hunch would be that the next time they wanted to use Agnes, she was not available. And then the person who they used Agnes, then they decided to use again.
That would make sense.
She's also barely in this episode.
Yeah, no,
I was
says
so
3.
excited for Agnes, and then she is not really here.
No.
And then we have Chuck Bolte playing Wit's dad.
Classic.
Old Harold Whittaker.
Voice the patriarch.
The episode is, credit where credit's due, written and directed by Phil Lawler.
Wow. Huh. You know what they say about blind squirrels.
And stopped clocks. And yeah, we have it came out November 19th of 1988, being Thanksgiving week.
Yay!
Of course.
Because Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Because we're doing a Thanksgiving episode, guys. In
Big fan.
June,
Odyssey
or
does
whenever
Thanksgiving
this comes
episodes
out. May,
very well.
late May, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? Time is a flat circle.
I can't do a podcast now that you said that. You can't get me thinking about.
There is no time, only clocks.
There is only stopped clocks.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else I want to bring up context-wise.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, like I said, it's on the album Heroes, so it's picking up not directly, it's not the next episode, but it's the following episode after the one we just covered.
Yep.
And then shocker, the next one we'll cover comes right after this.
Yeah, the final 3 of our series come right after this.
Okay.
We are in the home stretch.
Hot dog.
49, 50, 51, 52. How many weeks are in a year, Andrew?
8.
All right, that worked for me.
Thank you.
I'm going to roll the promo now.
Thank you.
Next time on Adventures in Odyssey,
Right now, I'd like everybody to gather around the table, please.
Whit treats several friends to Thanksgiving dinner
I thank God for Fiona Donneral. She was my stepmother.
and an important lesson about giving thanks to God.
Why are you unhappy?
Because of what happened to you.
It's not a dirty word, John. You mean my blindness.
Yes.
Don't miss the next Adventure in Odyssey.
Stepmoms and dirty words. We've got a lot to be thankful on this week's Adventures in Odyssey.
Oh man, it's yeah, it's a pretty good episode.
No, actually, you know, I'm a big fan of it. I do have some questions as to the nature of Fiona and Whit's father. I think there is something rather sus, as the kids would say.
Okay, well we'll be getting into that.
Yes, we will.
But we start off with they're at Whit's End. Whit has invited the Rileys and the Kendalls over for Thanksgiving. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
Agnes Riley is here.
Yeah.
We love that. A kid that I, as a child, assumed was Rodney Rathbone is here. Nope.
Not Rodney.
It's just a guy named Rodney. He's a kid.
You really shouldn't do that. This is this is a very important piece of canon for Adventures in Odyssey, and specifically Whit lore, as far as the kind of background story and information we get.
Look, dude, there's 900 episodes. You're going to reuse names.
That's fair.
And that's just life.
That is just life. That's life.
How many other Andrews do you know?
I met another one last night. He was delightful.
This is what I'm saying. Is that's how you know the Bible's true, because there are people who have the same name twice, and if you were making it up, why would you do that?
Why? No good reason.
Why in the
ever
world
does.
would Jesus have 12 disciples and 2 of them be named Judas? That's not a choice you would make.
It's also very bad considering what happens to one of them.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. That is why the Bible is factual. That one reason proves it.
That's what they taught me in Bible college, actually.
They were
Dr.
like, look, it
Carver.
just doesn't make sense. Why would you name 2 of them Judas?
It's
Why would you
helping
make
us.
John an apostle and a Baptist? Why would you do that? If you had any other choice, avoid it.
It's helping us. What did NFT Pastor say? Like, bridge the reality to understanding God.
We'll put a link in the description to NFT Pastor.
Oh, it's so good. Please listen to it.
It's so much.
It's
Boy, what a guy.
what a guy. Yeah. We can talk about it next week when the listeners have listened to it, so they get the joke.
Yeah, we're gonna be referencing NFT Pastor for a long time around these parts. because it changed me on a deep spiritual level.
I don't see how I could not.
So you better just watch the video now so that you can be in on the joke going forward.
Yeah. This is good for all of us. This is a community building exercise.
Yeah. But tune into our bonus Patreon content in which we
Actually, we should though. That would be fun.
just do 20 minutes on NFT Pastor for the bonus show.
We will do it unless somebody writes us to tell us not to. Oh my goodness.
The way we record, there's no way they will ever hear this before that is recorded and possibly even released. Our schedule is a mess and we love it.
Yeah, it's very, very conducive to putting out quality content, I'll tell you what.
Oh man. So we've got a kid named Rodney.
Yes.
Who his mom is out of the picture?
Yeah, so I
They
think
say
his
what
mom
happened to his
died
mom?
when he was young and his dad is away on work.
Okay. So when his dad goes away, he stays with the Rileys.
I would like to interject to make one point that the mashed potatoes are in the mixer, not being hand mashed, and that is upsetting to me.
Andrew, I'm a mixer family.
Okay. I can respect that.
Dude, nice whipped
Yeah,
mashed potatoes.
That is really nice.
From the mixer. Oh my word.
That is very
Boatload
nice.
of sour cream.
Yeah, you just need a lot of butter and sour cream, and then, yeah.
Mashed potatoes are heavenly.
So good.
Well, what's your favorite form of potato, Andrew?
Hash brown, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hash brown is dang near the bottom of mine.
I
It's not that hash browns are bad. There are
No.
so many good potatoes.
Yeah.
I'm like, my number one.
Do sweet potatoes count?
I mean, kind of.
Sweet potato fries are my favorite fries.
Interesting.
If
Okay.
you, yeah, like
I don't like them because they're sweet.
that's fair. Have you ever dipped them in honey?
No. No, I am twice baked potato is god tier.
Twice baked potato is
I probably am twice baked potato, then fries, then mashed.
okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But like a but a really good like baked in a like baked with like meatloaf and carrots and potatoes, like that
yeah.
kind of where it's like they have like the meat
juices.
juices in them.
Yeah.
Put some sour cream. Man, potatoes are
So good.
yeah, and I have your people to thank for them, Andrew.
Woohoo! Thanks, Ireland. You also got us for beer. Well, not beer, but Guinness for sure. And I think some amount of civil unrest in the world. The IRA is kind of historically one of the big wigs as far as fighting imperialism.
Well, there's that, man.
Yeah. Okay, no. Before we move on from the food, because this is a Thanksgiving episode,
It is.
favorite Thanksgiving dish? Like you're sitting down, spreads in front of you.
Yeah. So I think the magic of Thanksgiving.
What's the worst though? Actually, I think we start with the worst.
Let me get this out. The magic of Thanksgiving is that none of the dishes are great on their own,
Yeah.
but as a platter are perfection.
Salt and pepper cooking, brother. That's the way to do it.
Anything
Can go on anything. You can put
It is-
turkey on your stuffing and
Yeah.
cranberry
Oh,
sauce
my
on your
word.
mashed potatoes.
Right, it's such a win. What is my lowest? Honestly,
If you say turkey, I'm not judging you.
Andrew, I'm saying turkey.
That's okay.
Specifically white meat turkey.
Yeah.
But turkey in general is the worst part of the Thanksgiving meal. It works well with the other stuff,
Yeah.
but you have to put a lot of gravy on it and not just eat it because it's dry and it's chewy. And how can something be dry and chewy?
Yeah.
Turkey is such a missed opportunity.
There's a lot of craftsmanship that I've seen that goes into making a really good turkey Smoked turkey is incredible. If you can smoke a
Interesting.
turkey for Thanksgiving,
I feel like smoking just makes it so much more dry, though.
it'll make it dry to a certain extent, but because you're putting gravy on it anyway, it gives such a nice amount of flavor.
Yeah.
And it amplifies everything else.
Yeah, maybe I just haven't done a turkey right, but I'm not.
But no, for me, it's like maybe if it's not the bottom, it's second or third to the bottom. Like it's down there.
Yeah.
And I love turkey. It's just it doesn't stand up to cranberry sauce. It doesn't even stand up to freaking pretzel rolls, man. Like give me a good dinner roll.
Yeah, I am right. I'm probably mashed potatoes number one.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm trying to think of what I mean. I'm a big fan of stuffing. Oh, and then once you get into desserts, like apple pie number one. But
I've never had apple pie on Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
Not once in my life.
You pumpkin only?
No,
No pie?
pumpkin and pecan. Pumpkin,
Okay.
pecan,
Yep.
and chocolate pecan.
Okay, so we do pumpkin, pecan, and apple.
Okay.
And apple is
Top notch. Yeah. Apple pie is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pumpkin pie is nothing to scoff at, but it is the most Thanksgiving of pies in the sense that it's like hit or miss. But if you put the whipped cream on it and the Cool Whip and whatever, then it's a whole other story. And
yeah.
It's delightful.
Pumpkin pie, I think, is my least favorite way to eat pumpkin, but it's still
Interesting.
good. I'm like pumpkin bread. Pumpkin bread's top, hands down. A pumpkin roll, quite good. You know,
No, yeah. Anything
stuff
with
that is
cream
pumpkin.
cheese frosting just
Yes.
rolled up.
Mm-hmm.
Any of it.
Yeah.
I love Adventures in Odyssey, but not nearly as much as I love cream cheese frosting.
Not as much as I love pumpkin bread. But yes, cream cheese frosting, best frosting.
We have
Peanut butter second.
Yeah. Peanut butter frosting's so good.
So,
Anyway, the mashed potatoes were made in the blender and not hand mashed, which apparently Dylan's a whipped man.
yep.
Um,
That's what they've always said. Dylan is whipped.
Dylan is so whipped. Like sour cream.
Oh man. Yeah. What else? Oh, so there's this moment where June and Whit and Tom are talking,
Oh yeah.
and June is just talking about how great, like he's just really happy about. Well, they start off, and I love it, of like complimenting her on Connie and just being like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Cool, because Connie's
we really
walking
like
around
your-
with Rodney.
Yeah, we really like your daughter. And she's like, yeah, she's been like a whole different person since getting to know you guys.
Yeah, and then Whit's like, you sound surprised, and that's what she's like, yeah, she's been so different. Something's happened to Connie since she started working here. I hope it continues. And then everybody else is like, we hope so too. And she's like, and then Connie comes back in.
Yep.
It's not uncomfortable at all. But I mean,
The intentions are sweet.
the intentions are so sweet. They are as sweet as the aforementioned pumpkin pie. Or actually probably sweeter. We're going apple.
I don't think apple's sweeter than pumpkin.
I don't know how. Okay, chocolate pecan is definitely sweeter than both of those.
Okay. All right. Sure.
It's so rich, I can't even have a full piece. It's just so much chocolate and nut fat.
Ew. Don't no. Thumbs down to nut fat.
Sorry, my bad. It's monosaturated. Nut fat,
Oh.
I'm so glad this is recorded and going on the internet.
You're gonna be known as nut fat on all sorts of corners of the internet now.
Please call
Nut
me
fat
Nut.
Estabo. Good friends with Popsicle Cabrera.
Yeah. The craziest kid in town.
Yeah, that's Nut Fat Estabo, the weirdest kid in town.
It's just me. I notoriously have a freaking bag of nuts in my backpack that I carry around for snacks. They're in my backpack right now.
So they all gather around the table. And before they start the food, Whit introduces them to a tradition that Jenny started. I know.
My hand is over my heart. That was the sound that was. It's so sweet.
It is. I have that note with the smiley face that has heart eyes.
Aw. Jenny was hot, for sure. It's canon.
Well, I mean, yes, she's Whit's wife.
Duh. You can't be married to God and be ugly. Yeah, so it's an Indian corn, and you put, there's a little bit of Indian corn at everybody's place on the table, and they pass around a basket, and you put your corn in, and you say something that you're thankful for.
Yeah.
And Whit's like, Connie, you go first. And Connie's like, no.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, exactly. And then Whit was like, well, I picked you. Yeah. Which is like, what?
But it's like,
have you never had the
she's never
experience of somebody?
done this before. She doesn't know what she's being asked to do, really. And he's just like, go first. She's also like a high schooler.
Yeah, well,
like,
he's
around
introducing
a bunch of adults.
tradition. Like
she's
one...
never met Agnes before, I assume.
Yeah, we don't know how much he knows or she knows about Jenny at this point.
Yeah, well, she does know, because is Recollections told to Connie? I think so. But yeah, she does know some stuff. But yeah, regardless, she knows who Jenny is. She's familiar. But yeah, and Connie's like, well, I'm thankful when someone else goes first. And yeah, June takes it and just runs with it and is so good.
So kind. So sweet. She says how thankful she is for her daughter and like how 16 years ago this person, turned my life upside down, but I've loved every minute of it. It's really sweet. And
it's
also
great
16 now.
It's a great performance. Yeah. Andrew, she might be going off of when she was conceived, not when she was born. She might still be 15.
Okay, that's...
I think, because she's talking about being pregnant with Connie at one point. No? Like, I think that's...
Okay, so maybe she's 15.
Because she says, like, the 16-year, like, I didn't know who you were going to be, and I'm so glad it turned out to be you, or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
I'm remembering this correctly?
I believe you are.
So she's 15.
15.
Yeah.
It's like the 11st.
Yeah, exactly. But she
the
does...
15th first.
It's a really good performance, and I like the way she sells it. And she's like cheesy mom, but sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was like, it felt like something like my mom or your mom would say, like if put on the spot. And then Connie goes, because her mom went, she's like, ditto, what she said to me, but back to her.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they pass the buck on to Tom, yeah.
Who just talks about being thankful for this time of year, and everyone kind of chips in.
Rodney is very excited about being out of school. Says that a bunch.
Yep.
And he talks about how much he knows about Thanksgiving and gives all the dates. And,
He does a Thanksgiving recap with a bit of an attitude.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's... When I was hearing it, I was like, so this is the point in the episode where Whitwell actually somebody.
Right.
I know all
for
about
sure.
this.
But,
well, actually.
Yes. 100%. But it's also a time to get to recap for everyone what Thanksgiving is.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And then... Right, and then Whit's like, but thankful to who? And he's like, oh, I get it. God. Right. And... Yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay, so what are you thankful for, Rodney? And he's like, I don't know. And Connie's like, well, come on, even I tried. And it's like, you didn't, Connie.
No, you did not.
And he's like, well, I don't have a mom that I can just, like, copy off of.
Yeah.
And my dad's not here, and I'm just mad, and, yeah. And...
Well, and he makes his statement that I think is really poignant, where he says, I don't blame God, but I don't want to thank him for that either.
Correct.
Yeah. My initial thought was, I really hope this isn't painted as the wrong way to think about things, because I don't necessarily feel like it's the most unhealthy. However, the point this episode makes is also very valuable.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I think that this is like I like this sentiment from him.
Mm-hmm.
It's honest and it's not like straw man-y. Like
Yeah.
it's not like him. Like he's not mad at God.
No, it's not malicious he's not
he's-
projecting. Or
Yeah,
anything.
he's like somewhat apathetic in this specific scenario or whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Wit really like pounces on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not saying that like that's the best response Rodney could have had, but I think it's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I think it's very mature, especially for like a child to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I'm not blaming God, but like I'm not going to thank him for the fact that my dad's not around today. And I'm like, yes, no, good.
Yeah, well, because Wit literally asked a child on Thanksgiving what he's thankful for when his parents are not there, given the circumstance.
When he's eating dinner with strangers
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. This was never going to end with him being like, oh, I'm just so thankful for my new family and all this wonderful...
Yeah, and I
know.
also, like, I think he can be thankful in his circumstance,
Yeah,
but I don't think he needs to be thankful that they're not there.
exactly.
And
Which is-
Wit doesn't explain that at all.
No. Well, and
Like, I think the point of, like, giving thanks is, like, it's being, like, outwardly positive in a genuine way, even when things are tough.
yeah.
It's not being excited or celebrating the bad stuff.
Yeah, it's not being it's not being toxically positive, which is a thing.
Right. You don't.
The old Ted Lasso effect.
Sure. You don't want people being, just being like fake positive, but you also don't. Yeah, it's not like we're being asked to like. Yeah, I guess the point I'm making is like it's not necessary. Like I feel like Wit portrays like, especially because he's talking to a child, like, yeah, be thankful for everything.
Yeah.
And that's not, I think his message should be like, be thankful in all circumstances, believe that there is good that will come, but you don't need to be like, thank you, God, for,
Yeah.
Well,
it's very
my mom not being alive.
It's a very
like,
Pauline attitude where it's like
well, he literally quotes Paul.
Yeah. And it's something that is perpetuated a lot. But it was like Paul wrote it while he was in prison, and he was writing it to adults about persecution in the church, and so like it makes sense for him to say that suffering for my faith as a direct result of my faith, like I'm going to implore everybody to be thankful to God that suffering, at the hands of people on behalf of him and as a result of their faith is something that will be rewarded, as opposed to all human suffering has a purpose and we need to be thankful to God for it because it reminds us that he exists.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, I don't know 100% what Wit's going for here, and I don't feel like he portrays it well given his audience.
Yes. Talking to a child, mind you.
Yeah. And so Wit's like, okay, well then let's talk about what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for Fiona Donneral, my stepmother.
That.
Right. And he goes into this story, which then we get transported into through the magic of radio.
Woo! So basically, the story takes place in North Carolina, right?
Correct. This is after Wit was living in Scotland, because of course Wit lived in Scotland.
Yeah, naturally.
And yeah, his mom had passed away, and his dad had remarried Fiona.
She had remarried? I thought Fiona was like a nanny.
No, Fiona's for his stepmother.
Stepmom. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's weird that he refers to her first name, last name.
Yeah.
He's still a pretty young kid at this point.
Yeah.
For them to not come up with something better,
Yeah, or
Then-
stepmom.
right, than calling her name is
Yeah.
weird, but, whatever. And yeah, he talks like, we in the story we see a young John Avery Whittaker, who was not particularly nice to her initially, because he was dealing with the death of his mother, and over time learns, like, becomes her friend, and he goes as far as apologizing for something that he had blamed on the dog in the past. And Fiona has the killer line of, "Macduff was a smart dog, but even he could not make handprints."
Yeah, it's just like, what if I told you I'd always knew it was you?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, it's so great. And her accent, top notch. The sound engineering of them riding on horseback, so good.
Yeah. And so they're
The
out
tree
riding.
sound is a bit weird.
They're out riding horses, and John Campbell's having a great time with the music, and they're talking about stuff, and Whit's struggling with, he's like, "You're always happy. I can't be happy because my mom is dead. You're always happy because nothing bad has ever happened to you." Which then immediately leads to her riding her horse into a tree and becoming blind.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really insane. So she talks, basically she says that she owns the fact that she hasn't had that suffering previously, but says that, like, her relationship with God has been so important to her, and what's kind of yada-yadaing it, like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And then she's like, "But now I'll race you to this tree," and so they run off, and then accident.
She beats him to the tree, and the tree beats her.
Yeah. Yep.
Stupid place to put a tree in the middle of a forest.
That's a great line. It's a really good line. And she's really funny and very well voice acted. So she wakes up and there's a lot of lines about, turn the lights on. Like, it's so dark in here. You can't see your hand in front of your face. Like, why aren't the lights on? It's dinner time. Like, I should go make supper. I must have been out for a while. And then they realize, oh, she's blind.
She's blind. And this is a incredible performance from Whit, from the child playing like young Whit, where he is like, you can hear the fear in his voice when he realizes that she can't see.
Yeah.
And then his dad like tells him to go get the doctor. And it's very good. This is also the moment. So we've talked before about Heroes being an album I owned. The thing we haven't talked about before. So I got Heroes for my 9th birthday.
Okay.
And I know that because my 9th birthday was at my cabin. And I got this album at the cabin.
Oh, no.
And I was not able to, I didn't have a way to listen to it initially when I got it. And I, in just like being a young child and playing around with the discs, I broke the disc this was on.
Interesting.
Not in half, but I cracked part of it. And so this is track 6, which is the final track on disc 2. And at this point in the episode, mine cuts out.
Interesting.
And for years, that was all I knew of this episode. I knew Thanksgiving. I knew
she runs into a tree.
Correct. And now is blind. And I did not have the rest of the episode because before I could ever listen to it once, I managed to, in the back of my dad's pickup truck, just
break it.
Break the CD.
Yeah. Wow. That's tough, man.
It's a visceral memory I have. I'm like,
it wasn't scratched. You just broke it.
I broke it.
What?
Yep. But not the whole way through. Just enough to miss half of the last episode, which pretty great, all things considered. But yes, was rough.
Certainly.
And so it wasn't until years later that I discovered the original name of this album, which is what the church library had.
Well, which one's the original name for this?
I forget. It's one of the classic series of 3 names. I don't
Yeah.
remember what this one specifically was called.
Oh, Secrets, Surprises, and Sensational Stories.
There we go.
There you are.
So I borrowed that one from the library.
Okay.
Because I was probably working my way from the beginning.
Yeah.
And realized, oh, wait, this is the album I already have. And then was like, wait, I can hear how the episode ends. And so I did. So I know the beginning parts of this episode as well as I know anything else on this album, but I don't know the end because my CD stopped early.
Because you chipped it.
Yep.
You dropped it on a rock or something and broke off like a tiny bit of it.
Yep. Just put a crack in it.
Yeah. Man, I'm glad that we've moved into the digital medium where I don't have to worry about that as much.
Says the man with a vinyl collection.
Yeah, I do need to wash those. I didn't realize that was something you actually had to do, but I definitely do need to do that. So Whit is talking about kind of what happened in the aftermath. He kind of glosses over the fact that she was really upset for a really long time.
Yeah.
But he does say that, she went through the stages of grief, but then she became really peaceful about it. Like she kind of settled upon it. And he kind of cites the fact that he was the one that was still having a hard time adjusting to her being blind.
Yeah. Also, I don't know what sense you get from these episodes. It feels like this is like 1905.
Yeah. No, it's
like they're riding horses. There's like the conversation about like the lights and just this where medicine is. I'm like, wait, is over 100 years old at this point, right? Like, still going. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is like 10-year-old Whit, and I don't think the First World War has happened yet.
No, the First World War must have happened. The First World War was, what,
1911?
Yeah, it was during...
Or
during that
1914?
decade.
I forget.
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, maybe.
Because we had the 20s and then the Depression.
Right, this doesn't feel Depression era. And it's definitely not World War II, because Whit's in World War II.
Yes. So I'm thinking maybe he moved to America during the 20s.
Right, maybe this is the 20s.
Yeah, no, this is 100 years ago at the time of recording this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and Whit is 10 at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, he's... Oh no.
It's like, Whit has a son who was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't talk about that enough. Jason's brother
was in
fought in Vietnam.
And Jason is still working for the NSA.
Jason's brother was drafted into the army.
Jason, our special agent, name not a number, Jason, his brother.
Yeah.
Older brother, mind you, but not that much older.
Oh, yeah. But the, right. Oh, gosh. So then, yeah, we
They're reading the Bible in front of the fire, as
Yep.
all good Christians should.
right. But Whit won't read the Bible.
No, he's very upset.
And, yeah, and, Harold, Whit's dad, goes to storm out after him after he, like, runs away. And Fiona's like, look, he does this every night. Whatever you're doing is not working. Let me try.
Which, incredible. Way to go.
So good. So good. Yeah.
That's the best. That is the best way to just be like, you're failing.
Yeah, and so Fiona goes in there and talks with him about the stuff, and it kind of comes out like Whit blames himself some for the blindness. But then, yeah, Fiona's like, that's, like, this is my thing to bear, or my thing to bear. Why are you unhappy? And he says, because you aren't.
Yeah, no, it's really powerful. in that sense that Wit is perceiving closure that he's never experienced.
Yeah.
And he's really frustrated because he doesn't quite know. I mean, as somebody, raised Christian, like, you feel like if you're doing all the things and you're saying all the words, then the blessing should come.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's Wit's experience here.
No, not
Like,
necessarily, because he doesn't give himself to Christ until the end of this
right.
episode.
Like, he is just, he has been dealing with hard stuff since his mother's passing, and he can't move past it. And here is this person who he was like, she's happy, but that's only because she hasn't experienced any hardship. And then she loses her sight and is still happy. And he's like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed to still be happy. Like, what did you get that brought you this closure and has made you happy? And, like, why did you get that and not me?
Exactly. Well, and yeah, it's really, the episode is well written in the fact that they really do seed in the importance of Wit losing his mom throughout the beginning of it and kind of breadcrumb it to this point so that it makes so much sense when Fiona kind of grounds herself and tells Wit that, like, I'm not happy all the time. There are times when I am unhappy and it's really bad, but I do have, like, things that I do at that time that helps me feel better. And it's all about, praying. And she said something like a Scottish prayer that her mother taught her about being, thank you for 1,000 times for the roses, help me to thank you for 1,000 times for the thorns as well, which is really good.
Right, the point being, like, everything, even the bad, has a purpose.
Yeah.
And, and they talk about, she talks about the Bible being a thing that keeps her going. He's like, well, I've done that, and that hasn't done anything for me. And she says, it's not enough to just read the words. You have to understand what the words are saying and who's saying them.
Which is really strong, like, and really powerful for a kid who knows probably that is the case, but doesn't understand the way that what he's doing is not engaging with it until this point in which he, the circuits connect and he wants Fiona to pray with him and ask Jesus into his heart. And, like, I teared up when I was listening to this. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
It's so meaningful to see, like, a young Wit have this moment.
Yeah.
Because it's also, like, it's the thing we talk about all the time about just, like,
how could Wit not be a Christian?
Like a fallible Wit. And it's like we see it. Yeah, we see it both with him here, like, as a child, pre it, and in recollections, we get Wit, like, prior to, like, Wit and Jenny, and him just being this bitter old man. And it's just, like, we get, we've had a lot of, or, like, these early episodes do a really good job of fleshing out and humanizing Wit.
Exactly.
Even if, to, borrow a phrase coined by Adventures in Ideology, he's just a man propped up by dead women. Shout out to Candace and Karis, past and future guests,
yes.
for that.
Perhaps maid of honor in my wedding. I don't know.
but yeah, it's just, it is, it does pack a punch, and I do like it here. And it's beneficial to see Wit at different points on his journey.
Well, yeah, and that, I think, is so important to the show, and in the ways that I think we've been unhappy with Wit as a character, or is the ways that he's been separated or acted like these experiences that have rocked him have that they don't continually affect him.
Right.
He's not still mourning the loss of his wife and his son and his mother.
He's no longer a character who changes in any way.
Yeah.
Like,
because he can't.
Right. But it's so cool to see that he could.
Yes.
And for 20 years he could.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really until album 50 when they when his peers are gone,
mm-hmm.
and he just has to be an institution.
Yeah. That
he really enters this phase of being fully unflappable.
Mm-hmm.
He flirts with it for sure, but the modern era Wit is something that you and I have both expressed a lot of frustration here, and I just love the contrast of seeing him as a child.
Well, and it makes perfect sense for him to be doing what he's doing with Connie now, based on all of the information that we have been given about his life and his relationships that have gone well and not gone well.
Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't think about that, but the parallel of Fiona to him and now him to Connie is really strong.
Team kill Wit!
In the whole... Yeah, let Wit die.
Let Wit die, please. Let Connie take over.
Get that
makes
trending,
sense.
please. Hashtag let Wit die.
Yeah, let Wit die. Or just even hashtag Wit's End, you know?
If that's not the episode that Wit dies.
It better be. Oh, my Lord. Stay tuned for the Odyssey Adventure Club in the year 20... Ooh, I'm going to say 28. When they finally allow Wit to die.
Yeah. But it just, it is so, it's so good. And that is a really good parallel you make of both because in both instances, it's a surrogate parent kind of relationship.
Yeah. Well, when you have that experience, you want more than anything, if you recognize that thing that you're so thankful for, that is what you want to pass on to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we come out of the story and Rodney is yeah, but the good that happened in that story happened to you, not to Fiona.
Excellent point. Still blind.
Which is great. Well done. And then Wit does the yada yada scapegoat thing that I am always frustrated with within Western Christianity and whatnot of the it'll be in the end she got eternity, so that's a worthwhile
God
reward.
always has something good in store for you when you die. Unless he doesn't, which we're very unclear about.
Yeah. Yep. I really struggle with any narrative that centers around just deal with the crap now because someday when you're dead things are going to be so great for you. Is
so healthy.
I think a really bad narrative that the church takes, and
it was probably a lot more viable when people were living 35 years, you know?
Yeah, it's just I'm the thing I always come back to where it's if your faith is predicated on whether or not there is eternity, you should probably rethink some things.
No, you're
I'm
missing out.
That I'm not saying that there isn't value to that as part of your faith, but if that is the thing that keeps you going, that is always deeply concerning to me, and I'm just I really struggle to know how to interact or be positive with those people, because I'm just but we you're here currently.
Yeah.
Like
How can you
this is-
neglect that part of
Right,
it?
right.
Like, how can you
right.
just invalidate the experience that... Yeah, Well, and there's a certain sense with that attitude that God doesn't have anything for you until you get to him.
Yeah.
And that's where the value of what he's saying is really, actualized, which is partially true to a certain extent, but
Sure.
But
It also sets the goalposts
yeah, well, and you're
of, hey, do well here on Earth so that you get stuff
later.
after,
Yeah.
which, yeah.
Bad idea. Notoriously does not go over well.
Yeah.
Indulgences?
Yeah, it's but yeah, so I was annoyed with Wit that's his like fallback here. Is it's like, well, yes, Fiona did have a hard life on Earth, but then she wasn't.
But she should be thankful for everything.
Right, whereas I'm like, you could have there's a way to just be like, yeah, God didn't heal her, but like the impact that she had on his life is not only an impact to Wit, it was also an impact to her.
Mm-hmm. And everybody that Wit has impacted since.
Right. But Rodney's argument is like, yeah, but the good happened to you, not to her. And I'm like, I don't think that would be Fiona's view on it.
No.
And I think it's weird that that's not what Wit underlines. Instead, he just says eternal life.
Well,
but I'm like, I feel like Fiona would be like, the fact that, it brings me so much joy that Wit got it.
Yeah. Well,
John Avery.
There's even the bit that's kind of laced in that her hearing and everything has gotten better, and she knows a lot more as a result of this happening.
Yeah,
Not to make it better.
I love her walking into the room.
Yeah, like smiles.
She makes a joke about like his room being such a mess, and he's like,
Yeah.
"No, I just cleaned." Oh, right. And she's like, "Yeah, but you're smiling."
Yeah, and he's like, "How do you know?" And you're like, "Well, because smile's something you hear too." And
it absolutely is. This is an audio medium.
Mm-hmm.
They this is Phil Waller fundamentally understanding the medium, and like, oh, if she like couldn't walk, that's not something we can communicate to the listeners in as effective a way.
Yeah.
Like paralysis would be rough, but we can really like land this well if we go with blindness.
Yeah. And all you have to do is run into a tree. Which is true. Your brain is very fragile, and your occipital lobe is relatively exposed. It's just kind of on the back of your head. If you hit it too hard, you're not in a good place.
Oh, man. And yeah, Rodney's then like, oh, okay, well, I'm thankful then that my dad didn't pick me up so that I could hear Wit's story and learn how to be thankful.
Yeah, which...
is funny
and good.
And then Rodney says grace to close us out.
Yep.
And Agnes never shares what she's thankful for.
She's thankful for the Nova box, but it hasn't come yet.
So there is a note about this from the guide that they cut it for time.
Well, did they say what she was thankful for? So
it then is used. They reused the audio in a later episode. But
is it one we're going to be covering?
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
But yeah. So it is just a weird thing that the show wound up in. But yeah,
so
I'm
fun.
just like I guess you have to cut someone. Agnes is the person you're gonna cut, but such a bummer.
Yeah, well, somebody, because Tom is so important, and Agnes is always.
I know. It's like, also, I don't understand why they had to cut it. This episode is 20 minutes. It's so short.
How much advertising did you have to
Yeah.
What?
You couldn't have just had a line where Agnes says what she's whatever.
Oh, give me some Agnes backstory, please.
Yeah.
I want to hear about her dead parents, not Wit's. Yeah. So the one thing that I did kind of twist out of this episode that I liked was the whole thing that bad things should point you towards God is a sort of reframing, which is a very, clinically beneficial intervention that mental health professionals use to help people understand things from a different perspective. Like one of my professors works with children a lot and also with adults. She has like actual picture frames that she has her clients decorate and design and then make another one or something like that to represent the way that you're understanding it skews how those events are going to impact you. And so not denying those feelings, going through the 7 stages of grief like Fiona did, but then also reframing it to understanding there is more than just this. Like, this is just a tiny piece of fabric on the, blanket that is my life. And while it's an important one and maybe it looks different than all the others, it's not the whole thing, and it's still a good blanket, even though there's that one square there,
Yeah, which is a really important message from this episode. Is it's like, yeah, we're made up of a bunch of stories, some good, some bad, but like not to let like the bad corrupt the good.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a good episode.
It's really good.
Despite criticisms lobbied at it, it sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's
The
a
writing's
nice
good.
sediment. We get like beneficial backstory.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
If we got more, well, I guess we do have young Wit backstory. Did Phil write those books?
there might be McCusker, I forget.
If McCusker bought them, then I'm interested in reading them. Or wrote them. I'm interested in reading them.
Yeah, The Adventures of Young Wit or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you wanna lob in here?
I've thrown out all my notes on this particular episode. I'm gonna plug Undone. I'm 4 episodes in. Dylan recommended me watch it.
Oh, look at that! We got a okay. So we're moving into plugs.
Yes,
is
yes.
what we're saying.
Unless you have something.
no,
that's not
no.
plugs.
You wanna
solid plug for Better Call Saul and Undone. Better Call Saul is airing right now. Big fan. But Undone, it's just season 1 that's out on Amazon Prime, and season 2 is coming soon.
Season 2 just came out over the weekend.
Oh, season 2
and by
just
the
dropped.
time this is out, people will have had season 2 for a while.
Beautiful.
But
watch Undone, please.
Oh my word. It's beautiful. It is
So good.
emotional. It is really it's such a beautifully
It's interpersonal,
Yes.
but larger than life at the same time, which is so cool. And the rotoscope animation is jaw-dropping, and the acting performances are top-notch.
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk, big fan of that man. Also
Rose
in Better Call Saul.
Salazar.
Yeah.
We also have David Diggs of Hamilton fame. I mean, it's an all-star cast. It is an incredible.
And is it written by the person who wrote BoJack, or who? What's the relationship between Undone and BoJack?
Yeah, it's created by some people from BoJack. I don't know if
Okay.
it's the BoJack creator or if it's other people who were involved with the show, but it's got some sort of BoJack Horseman connection.
Yep.
But yeah.
If you're Undone, you better call Saul. That's my plug.
Ooh, thumbs down to that. But I will second the Undone. I have not been watching Saul this season, though I'm sure I will
Oh boy, when
at
you
some
do.
point.
Nathan's coming back.
And probably by the time this is out, I'll have seen it. But you know, and here, wait. Having not seen it though, I'm gonna make my prediction for the season.
Okay.
Which is that I think that it's going to end with him walking down a road, and light is gonna shine down from heaven, and then the credits are gonna roll, and we're gonna find out that there's a new season coming out called Better Call Paul.
That's what the Lord wants.
This is a joke I have been workshopping and using too much over these past few months.
No, it's
and
incredible.
I should for sure cut this, but I'm not going to.
No, but it's kind of in vogue with Breaking Bad, the dramatic ending with the music.
Andrew, that's why I think the joke's so funny.
Yeah,
It's like it's this dramatic ending, and then it's also a Bible joke.
Perfect for the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Thank you for bringing it to the table.
And speaking of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod, we don't have a review, but we do have a review by proxy.
Yeah.
Which is friend, past and future guest, Libby Haverstick, sent us a screenshot of someone on Reddit who mentioned us and had something nice to say. This is from Minombre93 on Reddit. And they say, Wad Fam Chalk Pod is great. The hosts are still Christians, but you can tell that they have separated themselves from the conservative toxicity of modern evangelicalism. So, thank you for that just anecdotal plug. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you for talking about it.
93. Yeah.
With no intention of us ever seeing it. I really do appreciate that.
Yes, it was a funny screenshot to receive, which is just like, hey,
also,
there are people out there talking about you.
And I'm subbed to that Reddit. I will keep my eye out for your profile in the future.
Oh man, but yeah, with all that being said, we're gonna be back next week for episode 50. Karen.
Oof. Bye, guys.
We'll see you in a week.
Wad Fam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Thank You God was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Asalo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.